I remember my drive to work every single morning, same road, same traffic, and this feeling sitting right in the middle of my chest, like a stone that I'd just gotten used to carrying. I didn't even notice it after a while. And that's the thing, you just get used to it. We'd pull up into the car park, I'd sit there for a minute longer than I needed to, take a breath, and then go in. 13 years. I did that for 13 years. And if you'd asked me back then why I stayed in that job, I honestly couldn't have given you a clean answer. The money was okay, the title looked fine on paper, my family thought I had it together. So I just kept going, just kept showing up, kept being that person who gave everything to a place that I slowly, quietly started to dread. I want to talk about that today. Not to have a moan about it, I'm genuinely way past that. But because I think that there are people listening to this right now who are sitting in that exact same situation in their car, sitting outside work, taking that exact same breath, and telling themselves the exact same thing I told myself every single morning for 13 years. Just get through the day. And I just want to sit with you for a minute because I think you deserve more than just getting through the day. And here's the thing about a job that's slowly breaking you. It doesn't announce itself. It's not like one day everything is fine and the next day it's awful. It creeps. It's so gradual that by the time that you feel it properly, like really feel it, you've already been in it for longer than you realize. It starts small. A comment that stings a little more than it should, a meeting where your idea gets ignored and then somehow becomes someone else's idea 20 minutes later, a day where you work yourself to the bone and nobody notices, and then another day like that and another. And you think, okay, this is just a rough patch, every job has rough patches, just push through. And so you do. You push through, you work harder, you become the most reliable, most available, most quietly exhausted person in that building. I did that. I genuinely believed that if I just gave enough, if I just proved myself enough, something would change. Someone would finally see it. But here's what nobody is telling you about toxic workplaces. The problem was never actually about your performance. It was never about how hard you worked or how much you gave. The decision about how you were going to be treated had already been made by someone else. Long before you even stayed late, long before you skipped lunch, long before you answered emails at 11 o'clock in the night, and you kept trying to solve a problem that was never yours to solve. I know that now. It took me a long time to know that. And I think now is the best time to tell you what it actually does to you. The slow stuff, the stuff that you don't really talk about. You stop trusting yourself. That's the one that followed me home every single night and sat in the corner of every room I was in. This creeping feeling, this creeping doubt about, your own judgment, your own value, your own ability to read a situation correctly. Because when someone is in authority, someone you show up for every single day consistently makes you feel small, you start to wonder, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. Maybe I am difficult. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And the really painful part, you work harder because of that. You overcompensate. You volunteer for the things that nobody else wants to do. You become impossibly agreeable. You make yourself smaller and smaller in the hope that small feels safe. I became a version of myself at that job that I didn't even recognize anymore. More guarded, constantly second guessing. I'd go home and replay conversations from the day, trying to figure out what I had done wrong. I'd wake up 3 a.m. with my brain already running through tomorrow's problems. Tomorrow wasn't even there yet, but I was thinking about tomorrow. And that's not stress. That's not just a hard season at work. That's something being taken from you slowly, quietly, without anyone ever quite saying what's happening out loud. And the worst part? The part I really want you to hear is that I thought it was me. For years, I thought I wasn't good enough. I genuinely started to believe that I was not good enough, but it wasn't. Of course, that wasn't the truth. So if I was so unhappy at this job, why didn't I leave sooner? And I have thought about this a lot because it's not a simple answer. Part of it was fear. The job market was scary, walking away from something familiar. I'd done it for so long. I'd worked so hard to be where I was. Even something that's actually hurting you takes some kind of courage that's really hard to find when you're already running on empty. Part of it was pride. I'd given so much to this workplace. How do you just walk away from that? Doesn't that just make it all for nothing? And part of it, the part I find the hardest to admit, was that I didn't think I deserved better, not consciously. Not consciously at all. I thought what I had is what I deserved. I mean, seriously, if you'd asked me back then, I would have probably answered you, yes, I think what I get is what I deserve. And I think the worst thing that ever happened was that somewhere underneath everything, I had actually started to believe that version of me that place had created, the not quite good enough version, the be grateful for what you have version. That's what staying too long in the wrong place does to you. It doesn't just exhaust you, it edits you. It slowly rewrites the story that you tell yourself about who you are. But here's what I want to leave you with today. And I mean this. The day I left, and eventually I did leave, that chapter did end. It didn't end very well, but I did leave. I remember sitting in my car, and this feeling just came over me that I hadn't felt in so long. I'd almost forgotten that it even existed. Just space. I felt like I finally had space for myself. Like I'd been holding my breath for years, and finally, I let it out. And what came after, the rebuilding, the figuring out who I actually was outside of that place, the slowly getting back to something that felt like me, like really it felt like me, that was way too hard. I will not pretend. I'm not going to be like, yeah, it was just, it was so easy. It wasn't. But it was a kind of good heart. The kind that's building something instead of tearing you down, like constantly cutting you short, tearing you down. And if you're in that car park right now, and if you're taking that breath before you go into work today, I just want you to know that feeling in your chest is not nothing. It's not you being weak or ungrateful or being extremely dramatic. It's you knowing something that you haven't quite let yourself say out loud yet. And you already know the answer. And you know what the most surprising thing was? The day I finally let go, I mean, it was pretty dramatic. There was a very big moment. There was one final big argument, that all happened. But that's a story for another day. But it was just a quiet realization that I had been waiting for permission that was never coming. I finally realized that I was waiting for someone to take this decision for me and my life. And I realized it in that moment after 13 years. It took me way too long. It shouldn't have. But I finally realized that permission, only I can give myself that permission. And I think I was waiting for someone else to take that decision for me. So if nobody has said that to you yet, I'm going to say it. You don't need permission. Not from them, not from anyone. That's really all I want to say today. Just that. Just remember, that gut feeling that we keep talking about. If you feel in your gut a place is not good for you and you don't come back home feeling happy, you don't belong there. Think about it. If this found you at the right moment, I'm genuinely glad that it did. Hit that subscribe button because honestly, this little corner of the internet is where I come every week to just say the things that don't always get said. No noise, no nonsense, just this. This is The Shift. And I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, be a little kinder to yourself than that job ever was. Take care, guys.